Yeah, hi. This is my first meeting.
Welcome.
So I want to thank you. I want to share certain things and I want to understand certain things as well. So when I dropped you an email as well. So let me tell you my journey first. So an year and a half back, I went to a 10 days course of Vipassana. And it was like a main center, so like 10 days meditation, only meditation. And you're not supposed to talk. You will be given one particular room and you have to stay in that room. And after 3 days they taught the technique of Vipassana. And you could feel the energy and I could feel it, and it was moving through my body. But at the end of 10 days, I was depressed. I had anxieties. I had all those negative thoughts. And somehow the energy was not going out of my body. So even I was opening my eyes, the vibrations were there on the body. And I got scared. I was not knowing what to do with this. And the teacher there was also not knowing it. And I got even double scared, because I was like, what is happening to me? Why is this happening to me? And then I came home, and then I stopped doing meditation. I was scared like anything. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to touch it again. And I came back to my life again. But I still had a feeling that, not everything is bad. Something is bad, probably, but not everything is bad. So after, say, 3, 4 months, I again started practicing it. And I realized that, in the night, I was not able to sleep because, the moment my breath would become heavy, I would get stark awake. I was not able to sleep. So I got again scared and I stopped it. Some incidences happened a couple of months back, and I decided that I'll, start the meditation again. And when I started this time, I again went into that depression stage. Last week was really, really bad. Like last Saturday, Sunday were like, negative thoughts. All that is being happening to me is because of my own dates, and I'm not able to handle things. I am a bad communicator. I am bad at this, I'm bad at that, and all those questions. And then I came across one of your videos, and those things, and I realized that I'm not alone. So it's a journey, and what you have had told, that you have to let that unfold. Those videos made me a bit quiet. I mean, it helped me to, even the vibrations in my body after that were like, little bit easier to manage. I would feel them, but they were not like, troubling me. And then slowly, and as you had told me, that you sort of, attract those energies as you, pass along the journey. And probably that's what happens. I attended one of the workshops that was entirely different workshop, but certain things that they told and that helped me a lot. And this week I'm very calm, is because they told me to close your eyes and think about three things of the gratitude. The whole day, whatever you have done, what are those three things that you are, you have that gratitude towards? What are you thankful towards? And probably that has helped me a lot to come out of that depression and those feelings of negativity. Now I'm more sort of, organized. I'm not scared of meditations. Um, I feel like I'm getting attracted towards meditation. I don't know whether it is Kundalini, what it is. All that I do is I sit and look at my breathing, and automatically my spine becomes very straight, and energy starts flowing from down to up. And from the crown, I can feel that something is there. I don't know what that experience is to be called as, but I'm feeling that it is giving me the sense of, what I can say, calmness. Somewhere it is helping me to be conscious when I'm speaking, when I'm doing something. And for example, when I'm being aggressive, it would hold me back. Somewhere I'm getting conscious about it. And uh, I just wanted to share that journey. And maybe when I mean, I don't know, you guys all would be like made more mature, but the gratitude thing really worked for me. So whenever I feel like going into depression, I just bring all those moments where I am grateful, which I'm grateful for, and that helps me settle down again.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Alpana, for joining us today and sharing. Yeah. So I imagine that this was a Goenka Vipassana retreat. Yeah. Yeah. So the 10-day Vipassana meditation retreats with SN Goenka are very popular, very, very powerful. But unfortunately, they don't speak about the energetic phenomena or Kundalini. So it sounds to me like you've been going through a Kundalini awakening process as triggered by the Vipassana practice. But interestingly, so I've done two of those retreats. I'm going on another one in January actually, and I was paying attention the last time to what uh, themes may be there, which may coincide with this idea of Kundalini. So you've described energy moving up the spine, for example. So if you recall on this retreat, there is a period where uh, the teaching says to now begin to scan your spine up and down. There's a brief period where this is the instruction. They also focus a lot on the top of the head, right? So I asked the teacher, I said, why are they focusing on these particular regions, the spine and the top of the head? Why not the ankle? Why not the forearm? And he said, well, the teaching does acknowledge that there are certain areas in the body which have more significance than others. The spine, the crown, for example. This was the extent of what he shared with me, the teacher. But it suggested that even within that paradigm, there is some unspoken understanding of this process of Kundalini. They don't use that language. It's um, uh, not something they speak openly about. But if I'm not mistaken, SN Goenka's teacher, Uba Kin, is a Vipassana teacher, but he described Kundalini Shakti is
Mhm.
impermanence, is impermanence. This is the same thing. The Kundalini process brings us into a realization of impermanence, as does the Buddhist path, impermanence. So when we speak about flow, we speak about seeing things shimmering, changing, vibrating. What is vibration? It is change. What is Kundalini energy? It is change. But this is the dance of the goddess Shakti. It's all the same thing. And so the Vipassana approach is to sit with change, sit with impermanence, without judgment, without labels, just observing what is arising
Mm.
and passing away. This is the same as Kundalini, right? We sit with what is arising, any emotions, thoughts, feelings, sensations. We don't fight it. We sit with it, we allow it, and eventually there is some release, some opening on the other side of that. So it's the same process, just looked at in multiple different ways. Unfortunately, unfortunately, many people are going through really profound Kundalini processes and they don't have context. The teachers don't know what this is. They don't know what they're talking about when they speak
Yeah,
Kundalini
yeah.
energy. But fortunately, you found your way, and it sounds like, with your gratitude practice and your willingness to continue practice, you're well on your way. So I'm happy to have you here to share.
Glad to be a part of this community.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's hear from Rua.
Hi, I was just gonna follow up with that. So I think you actually wrote something about that, Brent, but would you mind just talking about it a little bit? Do you know why people or uh why they don't mention Kundalini and that tends to be something um it's like I was reading Michael Singer's book and Ram Dass and they don't ever really mention Kundalini, but it's very evident that that's what sort of happens. So could you speak on that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so Ram Dass, for example, he's spoken about it, but it's not a central theme in his teaching whatsoever. Michael Singer as well, if you read his books, his story, he's describing a Kundalini awakening, but doesn't use that word. He uses the word Shakti, I think, Shaktipat. but
Yeah.
it's not they're not like Kundalini guys, right? And
Mm.
so this is something that I've really tried to unpack and understand for myself, and I've come up with some ideas, some theories, but I'm not, you'd have to really ask them for more clarification to get their real stance, but I can give you what I think is the reasons. So, for example, someone like Michael Singer, world famous, huge audience, right? You read Untethered Soul, it's applicable for everybody. Very, very easy to digest that material. And I think it's because uh they don't overtly talk about this weird snake energy called Kundalini, right? So I think it's maybe not intentional, but I think it's like a marketing tool or device or benefit, right? We look at Eckhart Tolle. He's talking about energy in the body. He's talking about the pain body. He's talking about the inner body, right? I've heard that he was, going through Kundalini awakening as well, though it's just a rumor, but I'm certain of it. Um, how does he get on Oprah? Because he's talking about being in the now, right? He's not talking about snake energy and all this. He's just talking about being in the present moment. Everyone can get on board with this. And then so many people benefit from the teachings. Unfortunately, the other side of this is some people may, for example, go on a meditation retreat or they'll read a book like The Power of Now. And suddenly, when they're practicing this, like The Power of Now, for example, suddenly they're having energy moving up their spine and they're having visions of snakes, they're having dreams of snakes, they're having spontaneous movements and kriyas. And they say, I don't know what this is. This wasn't mentioned in The Power of Now. This wasn't mentioned in some of these works. It wasn't mentioned on the retreat, right? The teachers don't talk about it. So that's where I've recognized I could do something because I was one of those people. I recognize, okay, I can at least kind of onboard people who are going through really intense awakenings that don't have context. So for that reason, I don't foresee myself ever being on the Oprah show, for example, right? It's just going to be how it is, and that's okay. Matt Kahn as well, for example, he's a Kundalini guy. He's talked about it. He's done some interviews with When Lightning Strikes about his specific Kundalini process, but it's not a major theme in any of his books, for example. Well, he spoke at the UN, right? Goenka also spoke at the UN. Why do they welcome these people to the world stage? It's because they don't come across as absolutely insane talking about chakras and snake energy moving up the spine and all of these far out things. So I think that's in terms of service, that addresses that point. The other part is people have so varied awakening processes. So for some, they have a very gradual, gentle, non-exciting process. And then others have like these really mystical, blissful, orgasmic, far out experiences. And so the one who's having the really far out experience may feel superior. The one who's having the very gentle, calm experience may feel inferior. There's jealousy, there's competition, there's comparison, there's attachment, there's longing, etc. So how do some of these traditions address that? Well, they say, don't talk about your experiences whatsoever. Just be quiet, keep sitting in meditation. And everybody makes it. And we don't have to get caught up in all of this. Maybe you could think about like this high school type drama over whatever everyone's experiences. So those are some other ideas to consider as well.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I've also recognized, for example, Adyashanti is also a Kundalini experiencer. But he doesn't talk about it in his work. But if you follow his teachings, no matter what you're going through, far out Kundalini experience, or you've just stumbled on the spiritual path for the first day ever, the teachings are applicable. They'll get you there, right? Same with Tolle, Matt Kahn, right? Even Ramana Maharshi, Kundalini. It's an utterly Kundalini process, but very little mention of it. Because if you abide as the self, everything takes care of itself, right? And so this is how they were able to really reach like the masses with these really powerful, universal, all-encompassing teachings that can be applied no matter what you're going through, right? like I said, unfortunately, there are some who are having these really intense experiences and then they get confused. And so, you know, that's why I guess we're here. Yeah. That's a great question, Rua. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's really helpful.